So I'm super excited today to be interviewing Grahame Martin from freeingMe app, and I'm here to ask some questions on how you got it started, where you want to take it, and how people are responding to it. So if you'd like to explain how things got started.
Well, we can start with how probably they work is the best way, because people are going, okay, their first reaction is, how does this work? Why is this working?
Yeah.
Because we're used to physicalizing everything. So we're used to, say, getting a pill or getting something that creates a reaction. There's other devices around for various ways in which we can stimulate the three aspects. That we've got 3 apps.
3, okay.
And the 3 aspects are, we've got one to alleviate stress, can alleviate stress.
A lot of people need that at the moment.
We've got another one that can rejuvenate energy, and the third one is to help create rest. And even some people have used it to help them get to sleep.
Wow.
So there's other devices out there within these remits.
And what makes yours so different?
It's quite different because we don't use any radionics, any electromagnetic signals. There's no frequencies created by anything.
Okay, so how does it work?
It's very quantum. So yes, quantum, because this is the way things are going. There's a massive movement out there towards how we're getting out of the dense physicality and we're getting into the minute. And the minute leads us into communication.
Interesting.
So the way that I look at it, there's a lot of talk out there where everything is only light or everything is only energy, and when we look at quantum in these ways, we're getting into the subatomic, so we have to think in those ways. For me personally, I think there is only information. So how we all relate, you and me know each other for a while, we create a bond with each other that comes over time, and we can easily say that's because we know each other. However, there's more to it. We're passing information to each other all the time, okay? So in that information, we can take that and we can use that communication in building other ways of communicating.
Through devices.
Through devices. So what I was really interested in is the fact that I wanted something that was always to hand, something that could always help somebody, that was always available. And we've got these things called apps. So we've got mobile phone technology where we can put something on it. Now, it kind of came together a bit organically. It wasn't just I was simply going, okay, we've got this, what can we do with it? It actually went, we need a middle kind of device. So the way that it kind of works is we have 2 sources. Now this is very quantum, so I'll explain it as simply as I can.
Thank you.
You've got one source, which is you. Okay, human being. In the way that your particles work, they make up you. We've got a second source, which we can't talk about too much, but it's a source, it's created through particles. And in the middle, we have the mobile phone app. So that acts as a kind of bringing together,
a bridge,
an intermediate, of which we can get particle information to start talking to one another, 2 sources to talk. So in quantum speak, this is called being entangled. Particles working in a quantum manner become entangled. And when that happens, you get quantum communication. Now a lot of quantum physics is dealing with this at the moment. There's a lot of interest because lots of experiments have been made where you have information being passed on all around the world because particles are interlinked.
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't seem to even matter the distance or whatever.
No.
So the way that I played with it was it kind of came together with getting two sources to communicate, and I found or discovered we can do that with an app. So what we're using is the quantum field to communicate. We're not using any physical electricity, magnetism, radionics, anything like that. It's literally how we naturally communicate with all things.
Right, right. How it responds. Fantastic.
It also means you get to choose. So
consciously or subconsciously?
Probably a bit of both, but definitely unconsciously, because it's not going to work for you if you don't need it.
Right, okay.
So the source is something that's going to instill wellness within you. It's almost like a rebalancing. It doesn't retune you. Your body takes that information because it's your particles. It's exactly it. It's what it needs.
Yes,
If it doesn't need it, it won't take it.
No.
Boom.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why we offer a free trial. Because during these free 3 days, you get a chance to see, well, do I need this or not?
Yes, okay.
And in that time you may think, well, it doesn't work. Okay, we've been testing it for 18 months now.
Yeah, what's the response like with people?
Well, the response has been amazing, but it will either work if you need it or it won't.
Right, okay.
It's as black and white as that.
Yeah.
So if you don't need it, you don't need it. It's not going to create the balance that you need.
Yeah, interesting.
However, so many other people have responded really well through all of those three factors. If they need,
like an energy boost or to relax or
but it's also interesting because because you do testing, we've discovered this recently that actually if you use the freeingEnergy app first before you use the freeingStress, it actually allows the freeingStress to be boosted in that communication because you're able to receive it better. So again, you know, when we're flat in our energy, we don't necessarily know to the degree, and of course we have coffee and we have other stimulants and things, we're always trying to boost this, but it's always a flat way to try and do this. It's always a limited way because you're not really, you're just working on your adrenals.
Okay.
So there's not more energy coming in because what you've got to rebalance is the thing that's taking the energy.
Okay. So if I used it, I'm not going to sort of feel like I've got rocket fuel going. It's just going to, how am I going to feel?
Classically for the energy app, and it was one thing that it was the first app that I really put together to work on me. It was a very personal thing. So I have a dip around about 3-4 o'clock. And I had so much work to do that I found by using it, it just brought me up. And then we tested it with other people and we found that, you know, they're coming back, they're in London for instance, they're on the tube, they've been working all day, they're tired, and they've got an appointment that evening, they've got a dinner or they've got something to. It's very, very good just for
raising up
3 minutes, put it on your forearm.
That's where you put it on your forearm.
So it's a very simple step, just 3 steps. You just put it on airplane mode and press start, and you put it on airplane mode to keep the EMF down.
Great.
And so it's safe to put on your arm at that point.
Fantastic.
You press start, and then you simply just leave it on your forearm for the 2.5-3 minutes it takes. You'll feel a vibration, and boom.
And do you do both arms or just one arm?
You can choose.
Okay.
And also you may want to use it again afterwards. Some people are fine on one.
Okay, one go.
One consecutive go, one, and then you can move into consecutive goes if you need that kind of boost.
Excellent, yeah.
So you've got this extraordinary to hand thing that you can kind of, and there's an interesting point. So you wait a few minutes after the Freeing Energy app. That works slightly different to the other two. So you can wait a few minutes, kind of collects you. And kind
Which one's this, sorry?
This is the Freeing Energy. Kind of collects you for a few minutes, and then you start to feel your energy. But it can kind of work quite naturally, and you just find you're in doing something that you felt you couldn't do before. And I've had some people I've tested it on have not taken it after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because they've actually found it kind of gives them too much energy in the evening and they want to wind down.
Right, okay.
So
it's a stimulant.
it really does help too. But again, it's one of those things, if you've got an underlying health issue or something, it's not going to work. If you've got some form of ailment that's deep, that it's not there to replace any form of sickness, medical help that you need. Okay, so it's very much about how you're out of balance, and how you bring yourself into balance, and how much modern living actually takes it out of us.
Definitely,
as it does.
Yeah, no, I'm an advocate for hacking our own biology, and if we can have ways that are going to bring in life force, or to manage that, that's a fantastic device.
Where the movement is with that is things are very moving quantum for a reason, because we're now starting to get into the finite of how to retune.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of putting in big, heavy material stimulants, which get us from A to B in the short term, but then after that, various things that, and also people use all kinds of stimulants that
or caffeine,
not good for us on the long term. Okay, they might get you from A to B in the short, but they're actually, there's a payback for that. What's happening when we get more into what the information is, in fact we're run by information as human beings. Our cells, proteins are taking information into our cells all the time.
Yes.
And we're running through what balances we need, and the body is extraordinary at coping with the huge amount of radiation, petrochemicals, poor food. It still manages to push through, but what we're also finding is that's got limits. You're going to go.
Sure, more stresses.
And you're going against your potential, and your potential is what it's all about.
Definitely.
So I wanted something where, for a reasonable price as well, someone always has something to hand, and they can be anywhere. It can be in any country, because that's the wonderful thing about apps. Apps can just be taken, boom, 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 boom. They're not country centric. You've got this opportunity. And you've got something to hand. You're going to go into a meeting. It's a high-powered meeting. You've been under a lot of stress. We forget how this accumulates. And before we know it, we're going to walk into that meeting and we're feeling the weight of everything. Our energy's down, we're stressed, so you can just take yourself to one side. Some people just don't even bother. They just put it in front of everybody else, and people go, oh, what's that you're using? And you just sit there and you wait for the buzzer. If you want to use them privately, you can, because there's no sound, there's no noise, the vibration goes, that's the kind of buzzer, it's got no sound to it.
I love that. The fact that you've always got it with you. You can just,
always
optimising how you're going to feel.
And you don't know what's going to happen with your stress, and you don't know how. I know there's a lot of people at the moment who are dealing with a lot of anxiety.
Absolutely,
So there's a lot of insecurity out there, and for a reasonable amount of money, we want to. This was very much the mantra of the business. We wanted to make this, get out there so as many people as possible have the use of it, and if it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for them. But we're finding an awful lot of people. A friend of mine had tested it on, terrified the dentist. Terrified.
Okay.
Managed to get to the dentist just using the freeing stress app.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So
really helpful.
And we're just finding things all the time that can you know,
support
really support.
Yeah.
The other thing with the freeing energy apps is we found that over time you get this building up of chi.
Okay.
So if
Life force.
So even it's like if you use it 2 or 3 times a day over a period of a week or two, then you're going to see, you may not notice too much for 2. If you need that energy burst, if you're really feeling low, you may really notice it.
But it's also a cumulative
But
thing.
it's also something that can build and get your core and get energy back into yourself over time, which is another thing that people, and what's wonderful, I've had people that have used all 3 over the year, and after 6 to 8 months they're not using them anymore.
Right.
Because they've done something within them that's rebalanced them.
Brilliant.
And helped in, you know, where they are in their life, and they forget to use it now, which is fantastic, which is what you want.
It is, yeah.
So there's this very interesting kind of communication, but it's all quantum communication.
Okay.
And I think this is very much where we, as a race, you know, as human beings, this is the next step we're going into. We're really trying to find out what this pure communication, how it works for us.
And being owners of our own health. I think that's really key, isn't it? We're the ones that are taking responsibility rather than going to a doctor or putting it out there like they're going to save us. We can take control of our own health and well-being.
Absolutely, and also you're using a source which is completely natural, and you're not putting anything in that's invasive. They're completely safe because your body will only take from that information what it wants.
What it needs,
It's, I can say something to you, you know, I can say quick run out and get the bus. I'm only giving you information. And in your brain you can go, oh, is there a bus? Is there all these things? And in the end you'll go, no, I'm quite happy doing this, I don't want to do that. And that's our choice. And on this level, this is how it works.
Brilliant.
You know, if you take an allopathic medicine or something like that, or another form of stimulant, you know, you're not necessarily in choice, and you're not necessarily opening the door to get out.
That's right.
You may need to do that, don't get me wrong, but it looks like the direction that we're all trying to understand for retuning our bodies, keeping them in balance, seems to be very much about how the communication works.
Interesting.
And that's information, and what is information, how does information work? So from these 2 sources, as I say, we're using pure quantum information. We didn't even know it works. And when I say we, I'm talking about my business partner, Pavel, who creates these through a combination of me explaining what's needed and him doing the programming. So we're surprised often with what we've got, some real hard thinking behind it, but it still amazes us what can happen out of quantum communication.
Amazing. Wow.
And how our bodies respond and react to it. And there's we take homeopathy, we take other things that have been dealing with this now for, you know, a couple of 100 years. There's nothing new about this, but what we're doing is we're now able to use the technology to really home in and really see what we can really explore with this. And we're so used to using our physical eyes and saying, well, that's it, and that's tangible. Everything's physical and tangible. Now we're going into finding, well, actually, what is physical?
And there's things that are going on that we can't see. And so science is catching up with that.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
And
so exciting.
It is really exciting. So in a way we kind of stumbled across these apps, and I came to them by, if I hadn't played with healing and how energy works, etc., for the last 20 odd years, then I wouldn't have been in a situation to go, what do you mean that's working? Because I've done things leading up to this.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And those things have astounded me, how the human being has gone into a healing act through what is really minimal, or even just on a communication. So you start investigating that, you start seeing it, you start understanding it, and then you can start applying it. If you construct it in the right way, so you've got the source that's constructed, you've got the app, and you've got you, and the two sources meet at the app. And the app then gives this entangled particle information.
Do you think the human body is also communicating through the app, or is it do you think it's a two-way communication?
There is a two-way communication, but the way in which the particles communicate with each other, which enables you to almost understand it. Without that, we do it all the time, and we do it naturally, and our brains don't think about it, and we don't go about our life because we're actually slightly removed from it, because everything is so physicalized. I've got to pay this bill, I've got to get here, I've got to do this, that we forget, or we're not in tune, or we don't even understand what's going on behind all that to make things happen.
Yes. Okay.
And of course, when we look at our body in the way that our endocrine system works, our organs work, the information that is constantly going around our body, you have these balances working all the time to just try and help you do what you're here to do. What you've arrived here to do in order for you to be successful.
I know you've had some photos taken before and after.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? That's fascinating. Yeah.
So we wanted to test this straight away, and we knew roughly where we were at. We've been doing some testing. You've been doing some muscle testing with it, and we knew we were getting results. So we just thought, well, okay, how can we go to the next stage to really show what's happening here?
Yeah.
So we basically paid for some independent curling photography. Now, there's two types of this kind of photography. The curling is the best.
Okay.
The other one's a bit kind of showbiz.
Right.
And the place in which it was done told us specifically we only need to photograph the hands, because the hands and the brain are very, very closely connected, and the hands will reveal everything.
Okay.
So there was no point in having a whole body auric photography, because that's just a bit showbiz.
Right.
And it's not really going to see.
Not going to see the before and after effect. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and plus the man that was putting it together is also very, very good at reading. And he's got a whole protocol of reading the hands and what happens.
So the curling takes an image of the hand, and then from that you can see energy from. Is it comes out in a light, or how does that work?
It does come out in a light, and it does. This particular photography will pick that up, and it will also pick up various ways in which the body is responding through this light, and how, with light patterns, that can be worked out and seen to basically be applied to any set of criteria. In our particular app we were testing, it was the criteria was around stress. So we were testing the Freeing Stress app, and we therefore had it tested at a stress clinic. So we had somebody come in
Who was stressed.
Yeah. Who was there for that very point.
Right.
Nobody was put into stress.
Uh-huh.
It was at a place of source.
Yeah.
We knew someone was going to come along who was stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And we tested it before with just the phone.
Yes.
We've got a photograph of just the phone, not using the app.
Right.
And then we have afterwards. Plus the woman who reported was saying that one of the big stresses for her, she has this constant chanter going around in her mind of constant worries.
Yeah.
And she reported after using the app just once, that all cleared.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It was also reflected in the photography, and that can be seen on our website, freeingMe.
Great, great. So you saw a noticeable difference from before and after?
It's there, and also the report's there, and the man who actually did the work has also written a full report saying that it really made a substantial difference.
Fantastic.
So everything that helped us, because everything we were seeing and we were getting from people
that was
really
reflected. Concrete proof.
We got some concrete proof there,
fantastic.
because again, you're dealing with things that are on the subatomic level.
People like to see that kind of proof.
People like to see that proof.
To have faith in it.
So
so people will be able to find your app from your website or
Google Play.
Google Play.
So first of all, it's only going to be available on Android first of all,
Okay.
and it's going to be on Google Play.
Yeah.
And there's an introductory offer which is round about $2.99 per month on a subscription. You get first 3 days free.
Great, try it.
Don't want it,
You don't need
just
to.
cancel.
Right. Brilliant.
So, and then there's a yearly price. So again, we're doing this all as an introductory offer to begin with.
And for Apple users?
Apple users, we're going to get it onto our website where you can use it from the website.
Right.
But that's going to take us a little bit more time.
Okay, because
we've basically got to program it.
Right, okay.
So we're doing the programming one bit at a time.
Fantastic. Good. All right. Well, it's been lovely talking to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.